Alright. Welcome back to Computer Repair. This is Metal Militia Captain. Come in, sit down, stand up, jump around, I don't care. Welcome to the mosh pit. Today we are going to repair a 2020 M1 Macbook Pro bad logic board. We're going to replace it. P0.2 bits. Take all 10 screws. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pop the cover. There, move that into frame. Okay. There's the battery cover. It's going to flip lock. Flip that up. Pull the battery cover off, always first. 2, 3. T3 bit to take off all these cable cover cowlings for the antenna, USB-C, and trackpad keyboard. It's a T3 bit. That off. Oh, and the display cowling cover. There's the display cowling cover. We got that off. This is the display cable. So, well, we got one more cable cowling to take off. It's over here on the audio input board, and that's 3 T3 screws. I think that's all the T3s for a minute. So then now we've got to go around and disconnect all the cables. I like to use a little spludger pry tool. You know, you go under the edge and just kind of gently lift. So there's the trackpad connector, speaker connector over here. If you can see that, I don't know. I know my camera's not great quality, but I'm sure if you were following along, you know what I was talking about. Over here is the USB-C connector. Undo that. The antenna covers, or antenna cables, I like to take the pointed part of the black stick and start at the base of the cable and just slide it upwards towards the tip, and you'll feel it just pop right off. Do that for both of those. Undo the display. Cable. And over here on the audio board, you get the connector that goes to the logic board and the connector for the Touch ID. We're going to undo that. And then over here is a connector for the right speaker. I don't think we have to undo that. We're going to leave it for a second. Okay. We got all the connectors undone. Now we're going to get a T5 bit, because that's what all the other logic board screws are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 screws on the main logic board. So I'm going to start working on those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Boom and boom. Now, if we peel all the cables back nicely, this logic board should lift right out of here now. Yep, there you go. Oh, I missed a cable connector. Wow, that was silly. There's one more over here. It's a little lift lock connector. I think it's the microphone, if I'm not mistaken. No, wait, that's the backlight for the keyboard. Pardon me. So there. We got our logic board out. Now when you replace a logic board on most newer MacBooks, you also need to replace the Touch ID to do it officially anyways. I think if you were to do it unofficially, I don't know as if it would matter, but I'm 99% positive that the Touch ID is actually paired with the logic board. I know when we do a replacement through Apple, they require us to order a Touch ID as well because they're synced, they're paired with the board. So we have to get this Touch ID out of here. Now this little audio board on the side has 2 T5 screws and 1 T3 screw just to drive you nuts. So we're going to take out the 2 T5s. Switch back to the T3 because we're going to need that to continue taking out the Touch ID anyways. Okay. So then, yeah, I guess we do have to disconnect that right speaker connector. So we'll get that. I forgot that we had to take the audio board out to get to the Touch ID. Okay, so that should now just kind of, wiggle and lift out. Now down here for the cover for the Touch ID button, we have 6 T3 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to start working on those. 1, 2, and a 3. That's how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, but not how many screws it takes to replace a Touch ID. 4, 5, and 6. Just like the count. Okay, so we got that, and then we're going to open the display so we can get that old Touch ID out of there. Kind of just push that out of the case and grab it out of there. Okay, we're going to get our fresh apple parts straight from the bakery. They still smell like apples. There's our Touch ID. Bow. Take that Touch ID and open the case back up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got a
Always 5 million questions when you're an Apple technician. So anyways, once you get that ID set in there, this is what I like to do, is kind of hold it with my one finger on this side, flip the computer over with the display open, and set it on the edge of the table. Now that will sandwich the Touch ID board between the table and the top case and kind of hold it in place very nicely for you. So then we're going to take that, little cover, the cowling cover that came off of the Touch ID, and we're going to reverse course and put those 6 screws back in there. Fun, the excitement of 6 T3 screws in a row. They're not bad coming out, but if you can see that on the tip of my screwdriver, or maybe you can't see it, even better, that's how small these screws are. They're teeny, teeny, tiny. Honestly, don't even know how you manufacture a screw this small. Like, it's got to be a challenge. Miniature CNC machines. A 1 foot by 1 foot CNC machine. Like, I'm very curious to know how big the machine is that makes these itty bitty screws. Alright, so anyways, if you know how big those machines are or what they look like, you can always leave me a comment or send me a message. I'm really curious about that. But I'm just a technician and I never took my time to look it up. I just fix these darn things, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so there we go. We got our Touch ID back in place, the new one. We're going to take that little audio board and slide that back into place. You got to make sure you get your speaker connection up out of the way. Slide that in there. And we're going to put that T3 screw back down in the bottom corner here. Over here. I'm just going to get it started slightly and then tighten it down because it wasn't quite lined up. I wanted to push it back into place. Okay, so let's get that T5 back out. And there's 2 more screws here. Put these 2 screws in there. 1 and a 2. And you know what to do. Okay, now we're going to pop this, got to get the little sticky cover for the Touch ID so it can stick down. Now we're going to plug that Touch ID back in. And we're going to plug the speaker back in. If I can. Boy, speaker's being a pain for no good reason. There we go. Now we got that speaker back in. Sometimes you just got to use a little force with the black stick. Okay, so got the Touch ID. Where's the old one? Put that back in the bag. Throw that in the box to ship out. Okay, and we'll get our brand new Logic board straight from the bakery. Still smells like apples. Brand new M1 Tastic Logic board here. It's M1 Tabulous. Okay, oh wait, before we get that, we need to get the display cable off of the old logic board. It's 2 T3 screws. Here, I'll show you. Right? If you can see this terrible camera. Right here is the display cable. You can see it flapping. There's a cable cowling with 2 screws on it. One there and one there. So we're just going to set that flat on the table. Get them 2 screws out. And it just pops straight off. No big deal. You didn't miss any magic there. Okay, and then also on the back of the logic board, there's this connecting cable that goes over to the audio board. So we want that as well. That's what I was looking for, was my spludger stick. I can peel this back, the mylar covering, and you can pop the cut cable cover and pull the cable out. There we go. So now we get the new board. Put that cable into place. Flip that down. We're going to put this on there. Get those 2 screws and put them back in for the display covering, or display cowling cover block. Always my favorite. Say that 3 times fast. Display cowling cover, display cowling cover, display cowling cover. Blah. Alright. So get that logic board. Make sure all our cables are flipped upwards so we can get them in, get the board into place correctly. Oops. Backlight cable. Alright. So then before you put the screws down and in, I like to walk around and push in all the cable connectors, because that gives you the wiggle room of the logic board not being screwed down to be able to move the cables into place. See, so like that needs to go up slightly to connect to that. There. Now that's probably more lined up for the rest of them. Whereas if I just screwed that into place, it would have screwed us over, basically. Ha 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 ha. Okay. So put down the speaker connector. We got the backlight connector. I just put that in. We got the USB-C connector. We're going to skip the battery until everything else is plugged in and screwed down. We got the trackpad cable here, which is also the cable for your keyboard. You got the audio board connector over here. That also takes the input from the Touch ID, as you could imagine. Okay, got that. Display cable. And we'll get these antenna cables. Now I like to take these and kind of line them up, and then push on it with the flat end of the stick until you hear it click. Nope, you got to get it lined up. Well, that one didn't click, but it went on. So if you're ever not sure if it went on, you can take the tip of your black stick and just move the cable back and forth, and you should see that cable like rotate around the pin, not pop back off. So here, we'll push this one into place. Maybe we'll get a click out of this one that you can hear. Well, not really, just more of the click of my stick, black stick here, spludger. Okay, so that's all in. Now we're going to go back, make sure we got our T3, and we're going to put all them cable cowling covers back into place. It's about 1,000,000 T3 screws. We'll start on the left side and work our way around. USB-C cover, the antenna, cable cover, top case and trackpad cable cover. One thing nice about Mac, once you got that thing plugged down nice and you put these little covers on, there's no way that cable's ever going to wiggle loose. Okay, we're back. Only got bugged 20 times there. Okay, we're just still working around. Put the display cover cowling back on. We have the audio board cover over here. That's 3 screws. We're almost done. Sometimes aligning these little screws just to get them back into place is half the challenge. Okay, now I can switch back to that T5 and screw down all the logic board screws. I believe there was 6 of those, we said. 1. They're almost done. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Now we got all that going on. Get the bottom cover. Oh, wait. Last thing, always. Make sure you make all your connections. Make sure they're all there. So we're going to plug that battery connector in. Flip that down. Lock it into place. Check all your connections one more time. Everything's good. Put the cover back on. Put the screws back in this beast, and we are all done. Now, if you followed that along with me, minus the interruptions, you now know how to replace a M1 Macbook Air logic board. Pretty, as far as the MacBooks go, it's a pretty simplistic one. Not too complicated. Not anything like the 16-inch. That one is something else. I like the Airs because they still seem to be a pretty decent build quality at the cheaper price range. The Pros are definitely built better. There's no denying. Well, you still get a good quality laptop with the Air as long as you don't go drop it on the ground and smash it. So anyways, there's that. I'll snatch a power cord here and give you the moment of truth. She should turn on. Oh, trackpad's clicking. Oh, restart. Restart. Okay. Oh, here we go. Moment of truth. You can see the apple there on the screen. That means we done good, folks. Well, now I get to do the whole behind the scenes Apple diagnostics, etc. I can't really show you that on screen. And it's kind of a boring process anyway, so you're not going to miss much. Regardless, if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, things you want to see me fix, etc., please feel free to let me know in the comments. Check out my YouTube channel, check out my Twitch channel. I do these repairs, we do game streams, etc. So the old Metal Militia Captain is always kicking around doing something. Anyways, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. Peace.